guest, and hopefully we will see what happens here. Maybe I didn't get them. No, I did. Okay, there we are. We've got our next guest up and running with us today, and this is going to be. We do all sorts of things here each and every Sunday, as Samantha likes to say, any given Sunday. And we usually have, like I tell everybody, I will talk to anybody who will talk to me. And today we are going to be chatting with Diego Gonzales from DiegoGonzalesPictures.com. He is a photographer. He's a director. He does a little bit of everything. So, Diego, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for chatting with me and Samantha today.
Well, hello there. Thanks for having me.
So,
am I talking too loud? I tend to do
no,
that.
You're good.
Sure
No. You're fantastic. You're fantastic.
Great.
The long hair, the shirt, everything. You are the perfect guest for this show.
Well, I noticed you had a colorful group of characters on your show, so I
thought,
well, I'll wear a little color today, and hopefully I'll fit right in.
Sometimes it gets and that is the perfect setup for next week. We are going to be chatting with all sorts of different characters out there in Overland Park in Kansas City, part of the Live Sunday Fun Day event, and you can get more information on our website at kjagradio.com. We're going to be Skyping in Samantha so she doesn't have to get it all over herself. She's gonna get off easy next week. But Diego, how I ended up meeting you was I either met you or interviewed you, probably both, at the Kansas City Comic-Con a few years ago, Planet Comic-Con. You do much more than just photography. Tell me and Samantha a little bit about what you do.
It's my life's kind of a strange sort of art mixture, and I kind of bounce between playing music and usually heavy metal music, and photography, and I specialized in live music photography. And then I've been directing music videos, and I'm working on a documentary right now. Wow. So I'm kind of all over the place there. I started out moving to Los Angeles from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that was like 20 years ago now. And I started working on feature films, and then things didn't really work out. And they're like, the entertainment business is 17 hours a day in production and 7 days a week, and then you're unemployed. And so I just wasn't really being fulfilled because I was working behind the camera as an AD. And I didn't have a creativity. And then I kind of just slid into music, and I started playing bass guitar because I played regular guitar and people needed a bass player. And so that was my creative outlet for a while. And then I went and got a corporate job for a long time and actually worked at a major bank. And then I just had this like epiphany and some major life events. And I said, what am I doing? Why don't I go back to what makes my heart feel good? And that's creating. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to get into photography. And so I took some classes at Pierce College down the road. And I through my music, I always needed photos of me playing for, to help promote yourself. And I would take photos of the other bands that were playing on the bill. And they would always come to me and they'd say, Diego, those are pretty good photos. Come back next time, take some more photos. So I started like really getting into this thing where all of a sudden the music was jiving with what I was doing on camera. And it really struck a chord with me, And so that just kind of became my bread and butter. And I started moving into doing some journalism, some photojournalism, and also writing some reviews for knac.com and other publications. And then one day, Patrick Kinnison, who's the guitar player for Lita Ford, you know, a huge 80s awesome Lita Ford. And
Yep.
Patrick's, you know, accomplished musician. To play guitar with a guitar legend, you got to be really good. He said, Diego, you got a real nice camera. Will you shoot a music video for me? Um, and it was for his friend Nikki Stringfield. So Nikki Stringfield is the guitar player for the Iron Maidens, which is a all-female tribute band to
Yes.
Iron Maiden, and they're pretty darn famous. They tour the world, you know.
Yep.
So they're awesome. And so I did this music video for her, and I just remember the moment where I was behind the camera, and all of a sudden, all my experience as an AD working on set with feature films, commercials, television, all this stuff, I never knew how to use the camera. And then I realized, holy cow, I know all this stuff. And this huge light came on. And so after that, I just love doing music videos because you can usually do them in a day or 2 days.
Yep.
And then you have a production, you know, and you have a work of art that's tangible. So, you know, that was real fulfilling. And I ended up doing another video for Patrick Kinnison himself. He's got a band, Heaven Below, that he also does. And then Nikki joined up later. So they kind of have a neat, you know, relationship, and they're super cool people. But, you know, my endeavors, I would be photographing basically all kinds of bands in Los Angeles, the heaviest bands, the most underground bands, and super popular groups. Kind of the pinnacle of what I was doing photography-wise was reached before the pandemic. I got to photograph Slayer on the final campaign, and they sold out the Forum 2 nights in a row. And I had my elbows on the stage. No one was in front of me. And I took some amazing photos of Slayer and Primus and Phil Anselmo and the Illegals and Ministry. And so I was riding a real high on that one. So I've done some major bands, and also some bands like God Mentality, who are from Arleta, and just a group of Hispanic young guys that are just like burning up these small venues, and no one knows how good they are. But my bass endeavors have come full circle. I've been working on an album during this pandemic with my friend Roman, or at Pentatonic Speedballer on Instagram, and he's played on stage with Steve Vai at charity event for something for families. But you know, that's kind of one of the main things he does. But he does his own music, and he has been playing since he's 10 years old, like 10 hours a day. And you know, he's in his later 20s now, but absolutely amazing. And funny story, I don't know. He calls me up one day, and he says, "Yo, Diego, bro, I decided something. I would rather play with people I like than people who are good. So you come play with me." And at first you would think, well, that's not really a compliment, because, you know, you did say I'm not good, you know. But I thought immediately, I says, hey, if Wayne Gretzky calls you on the phone and he says, hey, Diego, I'd rather play with people I like than people who are good, he's not going to bother to call you if you can't play ice hockey. And if you can't play ice hockey good enough to pass the puck to Wayne Gretzky, he's not going to call you.
Yes.
So the point is no one is as good as Roman. I've photographed all these bands. I've photographed professionals. The guy is amazing. He's amazingly creative, amazingly articulate. He's a true musician. And so I've just been playing with him. And we have this magnificent music that's like, it's like Steve Vai solos with Pantera beats, and it's just like, it's so moving. It's not one-dimensional. And he's been working on some vocals, and we're kind of in the line of Alexi Laiho, tragically passed recently, but Children of Bodom. So it's like a band that was touring with Slayer, super heavy, you know. And so I enjoy funk music also, which is very strange, but you know, the difference between them. So I go the realm from I love Marvin Gaye to, you know, the heaviest of the heavy metal bands that have ever walked the earth, you know. But I've just been enjoying that, you know.
Well, I just
And
think it's
oh,
amazing
go
some
ahead.
of the stuff that you do, my friend.
It's very strange. Sometimes some days I wake up and I think it must be a dream or something. It's very strange. With the documentary film that I've been working on. Oh, that the music, by the way, it's it's for a project called 6 Foot South, and
Okay.
there's some things on my YouTube channel, Diego Gonzales Pictures. There's a performance. Our first performance was at the Viper Room. So I've been in
Wow.
plenty of bands, and like my first performance would be like at the local, hole in the wall, just bar or something. Yeah, I played on the sidewalk for a few people, but my first gig with that band was at the Viper Room, and I just thought, wow, this is amazing. I'm on the Sunset Strip. That's my first gig with these guys, and it's just brutal. But yeah. So also uh, at Pentatonic Speedballer, we'll be coming out with a music video. It should be through my YouTube page, Diego Gonzales Pictures, and you can also see a list of my other music videos that I did on there. But I've been working on this documentary film. I have a brother, and he is a glass artist. He's been doing it for, wow, it's in between 20 and 30 years. But he lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's still there. And the area code there is called 505. And he owns two glass shops called Up in Smoke, I believe, Up in Smoke, Albuquerque. And he basically, makes these, amazing sculptures out of blowing glass. And I thought, this would be really cool to film, because, and it's not just that art that he creates and the way that he creates it, but he's got this shop, so he gets characters in his store that are very, off the beaten path. And because these are what people might call head shops or something. So it's like where you go and buy your glass pipe. But these are, I mean, several $1,000 sculptures, that are just fine works of art that he makes. And he also is a tattoo artist. So New Mexico is a very interesting culture, because there's all this. I'm Hispanic, I'm Latino, but I'm also white. So my mom, she's like English, Irish, and Italian. And but the majority of people in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they're Hispanic, and native New Mexican. So there's also like some Native American stuff going on. So the art is very, unique. And so having like this community that he knows of people where he does tattoo art on them, and, just these simple things like Native American symbols like the Zia or Roadrunners, or like Albuquerque is a magical place. It's very strange. It's like something out of the Doors movie where you're in the middle of the desert and it's just enchanting, but at the same time there are rattlesnakes, and it's super dry, zero humidity, and the elevation is over 5,000 feet. It's just a spectacular place. And so there's interesting things. And you've seen Breaking Bad. There's a lot of crime that goes on there, because there's also like a scientific community in Albuquerque, New Mexico, because there's like Sandia National Laboratories is there. Intel computer chips had or has a factory there. So there's this group of people who are highly educated, and they have a lot of money for a place that has a low cost of living. And then you have people who can't get a job in the service industry. And then you have a channel of drugs that naturally flows up the freeway straight from Mexico. So it's like, wow, there's a really interesting dynamic with,
Yes.
economics and, status. And so it's very Breaking Bad. It's interesting, but it's a lot of work. I took on a lot of work, because I went down for two different occasions and took a lot of footage of him working, him dealing with people, him at events. So it was pretty interesting. But
Well,
that's the documentary.
I wanna go through some of these photos that
Oh, okay.
that you've got here. This is pretty damn amazing here. So some of the stuff that you have, we are gonna pull it up here on TV for our TV viewers as well. And by the way, Diego, but before we get started with all this, how do people get in touch with you on social media and everything?
The best way is Diego Gonzales Pictures on Instagram or Facebook. And you know, I mean, that's kind of my bread and butter. It's like you call me on the phone if you need to, but that's really where things are at. You know, that's really how I'm available. And people send a lot of emails. A lot of people work with email, but you know, it's Diego Gonzales Pictures on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And also, I have a website that's under construction that should be at diegogonzalespictures.com, but it's currently Diego Gonzales Photography.com. So that's good. I mean, if you go to photography, that website is live now, but I'm switching it over to the domain to have uniformity. And well, this picture that you brought up is pretty interesting. I drove all the way to Long Beach to meet with these young guys, and they are called Strange Legend, and they're a new band. They got an awesome lead singer on the right-hand side, and you know, they got the drummer wearing the Johnny Cash shirt. Josh is playing bass, and Tony is from Cuba. He's on guitar, and they're just absolutely amazing. So
well, these guys look like rock and rollers.
Don't you love that path that they're on? Like, it was a really interesting thing. Kind of a challenge, though, because they told me that the only time they could meet was noon on a Saturday. And I told them that is the absolute worst time to do outdoor photography that you can imagine, because you'll notice there's not a cloud in the sky over there, and that is blaring sun. So I did quite a lot of color correction on these photos, just to kind of make things look nice, because you're going to have shadows that are pretty hard usually, and you'll have to work with some lighting and things. So it's funny, the photography is you know, the camera is so amazing nowadays. I'll be standing next to someone with an iPhone, and they'll take the same photo, you know, or a photo, and I'll be like, hey, dang, that's better than what I got. And they don't even know what they're doing. They're just pressing, you know? But I'll tell you this, you will find the mark of a professional photographer in post-production.
Yeah.
So, boy, I really was sharpening my teeth for years working on behind the scenes to do that. So, you know, there's a lot that goes behind a photo that people don't even realize.
We have got a great guest with us today. Diego Gonzales joins us, and Samantha, what do you think about these photos, my friend?
They're incredible, just nice and clear, and I love this path one. Very, very dope.
Now, you also do animal photography.
Pet photography, my gosh, that strikes such a chord in my heart. I ended up through my girlfriend Lori. She got me into doing things for animals, you know, and like rescue animals and stuff. And so I ended up rescuing a couple of stray cats that happened to choose to live, one under my house and the other one around it, and also one from a church. I rescued that. Well, two of them from a church. But anyway, I just really had fun photographing. I used to have dachshunds, wiener dogs. I was a dog person. And then these cats came into my life. And that one was one that we rescued from the street and returned to the owner. It was lost. It had pushed open a door at an apartment building. And that's Momo the cat, by the way. And Momo had pushed the door open and escaped, but she was so friendly. We said she doesn't belong outside, and we knew it. And we were able to return her to her owner. So it was kind of neat. I just got to spend some time taking care of Momo, and those eyes are crazy.
I love
super
this.
Cute cat.
You've got some really cool photos here. We've got Diego Gonzales with us today. He is a photographer. He's a director. He's an amazing guy. He's got all sorts of things going on here. We're going through some of his photos here on our big program. So how do you set up from like this photo to that photo? with some of the different things that you do?
Well, let me see. There's kind of a well. I guess you don't want to show all your cards in the poker game, sort of thing. I kind of use a lot of tricks when it comes to animals because these photos I took was the day I met Momo. So, in order to get that intimate with a cat, to have a cat relax with you, you have to really calm yourself and approach things from interesting angles and figure out, do I want bokeh, like a soft background and a short depth of field?
Yeah.
Where's the light coming from? How do I frame the photo? The composition of the photo. The way the cat's leaning to the right, it brings my eyes straight to the eyes. And it's I don't know. It's like painting a picture.
Well, it is tremendous. Now you also do concert photography, as we see here. A lot of this, I've been around many a concert photographer in my time, and some of them are really good, some of them are really bad, and this is exceptional.
Wow, that's my friend Kenny playing bass in one of the many bands he plays in. There's a night called Rockaholics Karaoke, and it started out at a bar in North Hollywood called Skinny's, and then it moved to the Viper Room, and it's basically like a karaoke night with a full band, and they basically, if you can play music, you can play the instruments. Not only can you do the singing for the karaoke, but you can do the instruments as well. It's a really neat networking place. The gentleman Scumlove, who also happens to run the band Scumlove, he works for Schecter Guitar Company. He's also a DJ. He's got his own band, Scumlove. It's like an industrial band that's super cool. And I don't know, I like heavy metal, but they're more industrial sort of thing. He puts together these amazing nights of some of the finest musicians I've ever heard, And it's similar to they have a night like that on at the Whiskey, but the Whiskey's like real particular about you guys. It's kind of like a club. You got to be in the club. At Rockaholics, if you're cool, anybody can play. But it's so that was kind of one big source of networking for true live musicians that can be professional quality in Los Angeles. It's like a hidden gem. But hopefully it'll get more popular when things open back up.
Yeah.
That's an Alice Cooper tribute band.
I love that. I kind of thought that was an Alice Cooper tribute band. I was hoping that's what that was.
That was it.
Money, sometimes people take their tribute acts to casinos. We talked about the Iron Maidens, and they're touring the world with things, and Nikki Stringfield took the place of Nita Strauss, who became the guitarist for Alice Cooper. So, there's really, really legendary, talented musicians in that tribute band. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, you have some incredible stuff here. Samantha, what do you make of all these photos and some of the different things he's doing?
No, he's a jack of all trades, I see. I love that. Those photos are awesome. Very, very good job. And then just all of his involvement with everything. Yeah, you're doing great.
Well, thank you so much. I got some blessings from my mother. She's a painter in New Mexico. It's very strange. Her name's Janie Gonzales, and she has some amazing painting that she did. And it's funny, my brother's an artist too. He's a glass artist and a tattoo artist. But my dad, Art Gonzales, Arturo, he's actually he's one of the smartest dudes I've ever met, and most hard-working guys of all time. But he's very analytical, very means business. He's the Latino dad. He's going to tell you what to do, and you're going to help him clean the yard, and he's going to teach you some life skills. He wanted me to be an engineer. And what's funny is I didn't know my mom was so talented. One day she just showed up, and the whole house was full of paintings. And because she started taking art classes at a university, and then I had no idea my mom was an artist, you know. And it kind of made sense. It's like, oh, well, that's why my brother and I like that so much, you know. My sister, she followed more my dad's path. And she is a government employee, and she is in charge of 500 people at one of her government organizations. And I think that's my little sister. She's in charge of 500 people. Well, what a responsibility, you know. So it's very, very weird background, but I got a lot of blessings, I'll tell you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Diego, as we wrap up here with you, my friend, once again, how do we get in touch with you online and social media and everything else?
Well, thank you so much again, both of you. So I'm available at Diego Gonzales Pictures, either on Instagram, on Facebook, or on the web. Diego Gonzales is Gonzales, and Diego is Diego, Diego Gonzales Pictures. And also on YouTube, you can see a bunch of my work there. I have a playlist on there that has my videos because I'm doing these videos for the artists. Sunshine Rob, I've done some rap music videos and put myself in one of them for fun, you know. But that's on YouTube. That's on YouTube. But they're for the artists, so I have like playlists. So you kind of have to go in there and kind of see there's more than just what it is. Oh, and I just finished a video for Night Sword, Michelle Pickering. Look her up on YouTube. Amazing drummer. She's a female heavy metal drummer, and she's entering all these competitions and winning awards. Night Sword, it's super heavy metal, like gothic sort of band. And that video is out under Michelle Pickering, Hit Like a Girl contest. So I just did that one.
That's
Anyways.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, you may have to hook us up with her because she sounds entertaining. We would
I would
love
be
to have
happy
her.
to. She is an incredible individual. I'll tell you. You could do stories on her. She's got a following of photographers because, you know, she's a pretty lady that hits the drums real hard and plays heavy metal. So
I'll tell
I'd be
you, that's a
happy to-
big thing on YouTube, man. All these pretty women that are playing drums.
Yeah.
It's an entire genre. But Diego, you have been very impressive. Thanks for doing this, brother. And nice to chat with you again. And I look forward to chatting to you soon. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime, and you make it into Los Angeles, either you two, let me know.